Hi and what's up, guys? I will be talking about the Lightning Rod and how and why it is one of the best Icon abilities in the game. In fact, it has a lot of uses, be it for dealing damage, amplifying damage multipliers, or buffering the other Icon abilities. I think this is one of my most used abilities because of its uses in the overworld, mini skirmishes, and even boss fights. With that being said, let's go to the meat of this content. I've broken the video into chapters so you can jump to the information that you at most need. The first chapter summarizes the lightning rod icon ability, what it is, how it is used in battles, and its other pertinent properties. The second chapter highlights the three best usages for the lightning rod, along with demonstrations on actual enemies not in the Hall of Virtue. The final chapter talks about the build and icon loadout to support the lightning rod gameplay. So the lightning rod icon ability is one of Ramu's abilities, which can be obtained after finishing the events at Drake's Head. It has a base cooldown of 55 seconds and further reduced to 45 seconds in Final Fantasy mode. Using this ability conjures a lightning ball on the air in front of Clive, which can be relocated by pressing the execute button. It stays on the field for 30 seconds or until the maximum procs, which I think is around 30-ish, are reached. Basically, any attacks that get in contact with this lightning rod will emit a lightning chain in a radius around it. Also, the lightning chain is color blue when Clive procs it, otherwise yellow when enemy procs it. The notable property of this icon ability, and which is why I think it's the best, is it deals more damage when enemies proc it. Hence, this can be incorporated in boss fights strategies to gain the upper hand. That covers the entirety of the lightning rod ability. One of the things Lightning Rod does best is Quick-Staggering when paired with Will of the Wisps. Just cast Will of the Wisps, then Lightning Rod in front of the enemy, then watch their will gauge explode per second. This is a good combo on elite enemies, which are non-boss monsters with a will gauge, on the overworld as well as main story boss fights and notorious marks. This combo is very efficient when close to the enemy, so you can proc both Lightning Rod and Will of the Wisps. Also, follow up with normal attacks to even add insult to injury. One additional advice is since this combo is efficient up close like I mentioned, it is better if it is used after perfect dodging with Shiva's Cold Snap to permafrost the enemy. For bosses that moves a lot around the battlefield like Odin, the lightning rod requires constant repositioning and this makes this combo inefficient as you can see in this clip. Permafrosting will solve this, so it's a two birds one stone kind of thing if you use Shiva's Cold Snap before performing the combo. The last thing on this combo is you can swap out Will of the Wisps with Giga Flare. This combo is particularly not that efficient in whittling that will gauge like seen in this clip, but it is extremely helpful in press the attack scenarios where you need to deplete the purple bar to stop enemy channeling. This combo can also be used during Stagger, just make sure to bring up the damage multiplier to times 1.5 first to deal the max damage. The next lightning rod use, if you've watched my previous video, is when paired with Dancing Steel, it guarantees a fully charged Zantetsuken. This is extremely helpful in boss fights and elite enemies to amplify that total stagger damage dealt. However, the big deal with this combo is its effectivity on a New Game Plus playthrough. A fully leveled Zantetsuken will instantly kill basic enemies across a large area. So before going into battles where there's a huge number of basic enemies, charge the Zantetsuken gauge on elite enemies first. I think this combo already speaks for itself, so let's proceed to the next use. The last of the things Lightning Rod does best, which personally is the best reason why I use this ability, is that it can be used against enemy abilities to maximize its damage potential, wheel damage, and lastly fill up your limit break to absurdly max level. While any enemy abilities can proc this, do note that there are enemy abilities in the game that can proc a lot per second. And you know what comes into mind? Lasers and flares. I guess this script of me dealing loads of damage, partially staggering, and charging my limit break to full in mere 2 seconds against Odin will speak for itself. As hilarious and fast that may be, that's one of the reasons Lightning Rod doesn't leave my loadout. Other enemy abilities that have similar laser or flare-like abilities are Ultima Necron's Neuron Flare, Undertaker's Spirit Within, and even Fallen Guardian's multi-hitting attack. This technique is good for no damage runs and speedrunning boss fights. For the Icon loadout, I mainly use Shiva's Cold Snap to permafrost enemies and make the Lightning Rod to Will of the Wikes combo more efficient. I put here Giga Flare for stagger damage and more proccing of the Lightning Rod, then Diamond Dust for the initial Will Gauge chunk at the start of the battle. Next, Garuda's Deadly Embrace to gouge combo for more will damage like I also explained in my previous video. Odin's Arm of Darkness is a given for the Zantetsuken. Of course, Lightning Rod should not be forgotten. And then finally Dancing Seal for building up the Zantetsuken gauge. For the accessories, go for Genji Gloves for more damage, Breath of Lightning, Lightning Rod to further reduce Lightning Rod's cooldown, and the last is an accessory of any choice. I recommend either Favor of Lightning, Lightning Rod to amplify the Lightning Rod damage, Grace of the Inferno, Will of the Wikes to increase duration of Will of the Wikes, or if you are prioritizing defense, go for Adamantine Gauntlets or any of the rings. I think that constitutes the essence of this guide. I hope you learned something from this video and will incorporate Lightning Rod in your loadouts. If you found this helpful, I will greatly appreciate if you like and subscribe. On to the next video.